Come in, wherever you are. I see you. I see you. But you don't see me. Hello everyone, all 6 of you. Hello Timo, welcome back. Welcome back May, welcome back Rune. I'm just rearranging my desktop folio because I'm super organized like that. Guys, you're gonna have to tell us how to pronounce that first, because that A in the Sanger, is it Sanger? I need help. Send help with the pronunciation of that word. Word/name. Sanger, Singer. So, would you like to be addressed as Singer? Is it a silent G, as in singer or singer? I'll make my own mind up. We'll call you Singer. You shall now, from this point on, be known as Singer. That's how we roll. That's how we roll, Singer. Yes, good, Singer. Right. Look, Lune, Lune, is Lune. If you put a D before it, it's June. If you put a P before it, it's Pune. I'm just looking at the keyboard to make up some more. R. If you put an R before it, it's Rune. I'm trying to see if there's any other words that. T. Tune. Don't think there's many other words that have UNE at the end of it, so based off that logic, mate, it's Lune. That doesn't help. Putting 2 E's on the end of it doesn't help. That just looks like Luni. Or is it Luni? Timo. Timo, you can't go wrong with Timo. It's a safe bet. I've historically had issues pronouncing names on the channel. Remember Render Wars? I had to get a pronunciator. I can't even say that word. The translator from Google to type in an Indian name. Get the Google translator, and every time the name came up, I just played this wave clip of the translator saying it was like Vinash Noir or something like that. I couldn't say it. I was just butchering it. Luni. It's again putting a little accent above it. It still doesn't. See, in England land, in Brexitville, we don't have like accents and stuff above letters, which is we're a simple bunch. We don't have anything like that. Yes, this is now a channel for figuring out weird names from around the globe. We are the name. I was going to say that word that I can't say on YouTube. The German soldiers' name. We're the name German soldiers. No, we're not. I've just historically had a bad time pronouncing names, because in England we're Stevens and Johns and Pauls and Allens and Gavins and Kevins and Trevors and Bruce. That's as difficult as our names get. But then again, those names are probably quite difficult to people who aren't from England. Like Bruce, well, what's that? Is that Brookie? Is that Brooch? That's probably the same to other people. Is it Dutch? Is it Dutch? I would have placed that more like sort of Romanian sort of area, kind of Lune or Luni. I don't know. It just had a sort of Romanian kind of Eastern European. Is that even Romania? I was off that day in geography. Hey, I'm good at CAD, all right. I can do that. Geography, I am not. Anyway, how y'all doing? We're just gonna wait for some people to roll in to see what's going on. This stream, I've got absolutely nothing on the agenda, because if you're in Discord, I wasn't joking. Every waking minute this week has been on the bench test. up until 20 minutes ago, I was working on the bench test. I've got like 6 PCs here, and I'm like testing them, and I'm thinking, that score doesn't make sense, and I'm running it in the test on another PC, and I'm like, well, why is this test giving me this time, and then this one's giving me this time, and then I'm trying to figure out where it's going wrong, and trying to feed that back to the developer, and then I'm trying to figure out how the scores should be presented, and all kinds of stuff. So that's literally consuming my entire life, and then I was like, oh yeah, I've got a live stream at 3 o'clock. So yes. And I'm considering moving it from a Friday because, like, I think the low attendance is possibly because it's a CAD channel, which I've made no secret at this point that I'm trying to move it away from being a CAD channel, and leaving that to the members only stuff. But it's working it, and by Friday, even at this point, I'm just like, does anyone really want to talk about work at this point of the week? You know, it's the end of the week. The wife's like, oh, we should go out and get some dinner. We should do this. You know, it's the end of the week, and the sun's out. We should go in the garden and do this, that, and the other. And it's like, oh, I've got a live stream. And I would imagine a lot of people are like that at this time on a Friday. So possibly moving it to a different day of the week. Definitely not a weekend. That's probably going to be counterproductive. So it's only the 5th-ish live stream. So open to. It's still in that time where I'm just kind of playing with ideas and that. Show us some progress on the benchmark. Well, I don't want to show it yet. I don't want to show the actual thing happening yet, because I don't want anyone else to. There could be anyone could pick that up and just steal whatever it is I'm doing. You never do. I mean, I'm no expert with software development, but I'm pretty sure you don't show what's going on before it's anywhere near released. But I've put a couple of screenshots in Discord, mate. I can talk about it. So I give some sort of a high level overview of it. I've got 7 tests so far, which I'm going to try and expand on. It depends on the developer, because I've kind of given the poor developer a bit more than what I think they thought they were going to take on. So when we first fired up this project, I didn't really play it down as such. I did give them the impression that I wanted this to be big. I wanted this to be a pretty extensive suite. And I don't do things by halves. It wasn't just going to be some basic Windows form that a college kid could have knocked up on his first day at coding school. I wanted it to be pretty good, pretty impressive. And I wanted the tests to be broad, shall we say. So I've got 7 tests in there so far, but each of the tests has their own sort of sub-tests. So for example, I've got a large assembly test. One of them's a large assembly test anyway, and within that there's various different elements of large assembly handling. For example, applying constraints, taking a massive assembly and then timing how long it takes the workstation/laptop to apply constraints to a big assembly. Because that's one of the pain points when you're working on Inventor, is you're working on a big data set, and applying constraints can lock up the machine for a while, because there's a lot of computation going on when you're applying constraints. So that's one of the tests. But that's a sub-test within one of the 7 tests. And then, yeah, we've got FEA in there. We've got drawings, obviously, and then the sub-tests within the drawing tests. There's, yeah, I'll not go over what all the tests are, but there's all kind of, hello Jeff, mate, how you doing? They need to be watching it first before they can steal it. Way. Yeah, I know. Yeah. What else is there? There's, yeah, I'll not go over them all, but yeah, there are roughly 7 modules. And each of those modules has got, I would say, if I was to break out all of the times that we're logging, I could probably extract about 20 to 25 times from all of the tests. I'm not going to do that though. I think a lot of the times can just be sort of wrapped up into one time. Chad, your message just got blocked for some reason, even though it's just a flex. Why that was blocked, I don't know. So rendering, that's one of the tests. That's kind of what started me talking about this, because that's one of the tests that I've kind of added on I've got a Teams channel. So I use Microsoft Teams to communicate backwards and forwards with a developer, because when we first started kind of getting really into the rhythm of bug fixing, I started typing out an email and I had sort of this much information to send to them. It was like, oh, there's this, and this. Oh, and by the way, I've noticed this. Oh, and the other was, this is too much for one email, and I can see this being email after email after email after email. I thought this is not going to be efficient. So I've started Teams, Teams site, Teams channel, Teams area, and then you can have like a Microsoft Planner group where you can create little cards and stuff. So I've got a little area. Anyway, one of the cards is a request to put in a ray tracing test. Not Inventor Studio, more of open up like an assembly and then enable ray tracing on the assembly, and then switch it to past draft, past whatever the highest ray tracing setting is. I think it's just called high or best quality or something, and then let it ray trace for 20 seconds or so. And then if within the API, if it can detect how many iterations of ray tracing it's done within 20 seconds, because Inventor just shows you a yellow bar and that's it. It doesn't give you any statistics. But if the API can feed back how many iterations of ray tracing it's done, then that'll be a good test. So I've asked for that, but that's like, we're really focused at the moment on fixing the bugs in the current 7 tests that we've got. And then that one, I don't think that one will be too difficult to, as long as we can read that meter and we can get the iterations. I don't think that one will be too much of a buggy test. It's basically just start a ray trace and then count how many iterations it's done. The other tests are really difficult to do, because we're talking like the benchmark has an assembly with like nearly 1,000 parts in it. So you're opening up a data set that big. Some laptops that I've got here, they're running out of RAM. So the benchmark test starts failing and Inventor starts coughing and spluttering, and you've got to try and catch that and deal with it and stuff. So we're trying to iron out those bugs in the first instance. Alex, mate, how you doing, mate? So ray tracing, that is on the to-do list, and then there's the leaderboard. I need to design that. The leaderboard is going to be a really crucial part of this, because that's something that we're really missing at the moment. And I need the leaderboard to be very specific. I don't just want it to be like a list of, however many people have submitted. I need it to be like a stacked criteria search. So if you've got a laptop with a i7 6820HQ CPU, for example, and then you submit a score and you end up as rank 655 or something, I need to be able to have a search filter that says, here's all of the other scores from people who have the same CPU or the same laptop as you. So then you know whether your laptop is about where it should be, it's performing about where it should be, relative to everyone else who's got the same sort of level of hardware as you. And then at the same time, I want to be able to have a filter where if you're thinking about getting a CPU, or thinking about going for an upgrade, you're thinking about buying a new laptop, you're thinking about buying a new Dell Precision workstation, they're trying to sell you a Xeon 1077 or whatever new Xeon CPU that's coming out. I want to be able to have a filter that lets you tick that box for that CPU and show all the scores from people who've submitted a score from that CPU. Adam, I haven't had that call yet. It's this afternoon, mate, 5 o'clock after the stream. Those are the filters that I'm trying to get in. I don't think they should be too difficult, really. It's just there's more thing about it. It's just there's more stuff to do. It's like the legalities of catching or capturing people's system information. I assume we'll have to put in like a disclaimer in the app before we upload their data. Some kind of end user license agreement or something. I don't know. That's a future problem. But that's on the to-do list. But yeah, the leaderboard needs to be designed. The launcher that launches the app. I've done a basic mock-up of that. I've put that in Discord if anyone wants to look at it. It's in the general chat in Discord, sort of a basic kind of overview of how I want that to be laid out. So yeah, we're getting there. But that is consuming literally all my time at the moment. Any suggestions for rendering outside of Autodesk? That would depend on your budget, I suppose, or what it is you're rendering, I guess. Keyshot's a good one. Question why outside of Autodesk? Is there a reason why outside of Autodesk? Is it because Autodesk, you've got a beef with Autodesk, or you've tried Autodesk stuff and it ain't good? Because within Autodesk, you've got Max and Arnold. Slow. I don't think anything from Autodesk is inherently slow. I mean, Inventor Studio is slow, but... well, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, Inventor Studio is slow, but that's not... Inventor Studio is not indicative of Autodesk's overall rendering capabilities. I mean, if that's how people are seeing it, they should probably get on that and sort that out quick. But yeah, Inventor Studio is not indicative of their overall talents internally at rendering. Fusion 360's got a pretty good rendering engine. A lot better than Inventor, would you believe? If you've got a product design collection, you can use Fusion 360's rendering engine from that. But it is a bit of a chew. You've got to port data from Inventor to Fusion. You can either step it out and step it in, or use the desktop connector to put it into Fusion 360. And then you can either do viewport rendering or cloud engine rendering. Or Autodesk have got 3D Studio Max, which is a mental learning curve, or they've got Maya, or they've got VRED Design, which is relatively affordable. If you're a paying Inventor subscriber, VRED is sort of the same price as Inventor. VRED Design anyway. But outside of Autodesk, Keyshot's probably a good one. Then there's a V-Ray. What else? Beyond those, there's all kinds of rendering solutions like Blender. Blender's another one. Blender's free. A lot of guys in the Discord server are into Blender, and there's a couple of guys who are well experienced with it, so they could help out. But I've never used them before. But Blender is very highly regarded, so Blender would be a good option, I suppose. Unreal Engine 4. The game engines, Unreal Engine, Unity, they're good for rendering. There's so many. That's the problem. There's so many options. You kind of have to do your research, find one that you think. I guess the way these things go is like you find a picture that you find an end picture from someone that you think, wow, that's incredible. I'd love to be able to do that, and then that kind of sets you off on a path of being able to achieve that, and then you set your sights on that one program, knowing that the program's capable of doing that, and that's where you want to be. That tends to be how I end up with these things. But there's so many options, and they'll all have their own little pros and cons. I'm sure there'll be things that like Corona Renderer does that V-Ray doesn't do, or I don't know, like Keyshot does what Blender doesn't. I don't know. They'll have their own little, but overall they'll kind of all be relatively the same. At the end of it all, you still get a render out of it. But if it was me going for something now, I would absolutely categorically, and this is just me, I would go for something that has already got GPU ray tracing support. That's something that already supports NVIDIA's RTX optics framework, because the performance gains you get from GPU rendering are nuts. Like the renders that you can create, they're the same quality as the CPU renders. It's not like GPU rendering is any more better quality than CPU rendering. It's the same picture, it's the same end result. It just gets there a lot quicker. And you can do real-time analysis of your renders before you actually do a final pass. So yeah. So right. Oh, we've got, what's the Boris, mate? We've got a monkey meme. We've got a monkey. Have I got gifs or little emotes in the chat? I didn't know I had them. Was not aware I had them. That's what is it? Is that a monkey with a water pistol, mate? bit random. Oh, here we go. I've set them off now. I need to see what. That looks like the. Has anyone had Sugar Puffs in the UK? This breakfast cereal, sugar. It looks like the Honey Monster holding a very small quantity of green flowers. It's a new option. Do I get the option? Hey, I want to. Oh my god! And now we've got the Honey Monster dabbing, right? Where's the? Oh, there they are. Right. Okay. Okay. So we've got the. What the hell's that? I don't even know what that is. So does anyone else just get like 1.5 lines of images, and then they see people, nature, food, activities, and they're all empty? It's a bit disappointing. I want to see activities and travel. They're all empty though. That's a bit disappointing. Singer, SimLab's easy to learn. Invented plugin in RTX. SimLab. Let me investigate. I've heard that. What's SimLab? There's lots of things called SimLab. I don't know what that is. SimLab Soft, SimLab Racing Simulator Products, SimLab First Class Professional Photography Printing Services. Hello Darren mate, how you doing? Welcome along. So you joined a couple of days ago. SimLab Composer. Oh god, out of Google. The SimLab Composer. SimLab Soft. A revolutionary visualization in VR creation software, they say. I need to see some gallery, right? Renders. I'll flash this over onto the main screen. Build the line caller. SimLab. Right, that's size of this. Bad lad. A building with stairs. White robot with small details. It's not hugely impressive. Okay. What's its deal? I don't know what its deal is. I mean, nice use of lighting around here, I guess, but buildings with sun. Oh, there's no caustics there. See, if that was a proper kind of we're meant at doing liquids, there'd be kind of red reflections or caustics coming through the liquid and shining onto the tray, but there's none, which suggests that they don't do caustics. That's nice. Pleasant. I want to chill on that sofa and read a book, even though I don't read much. That's very cartoony. That's not very good. I don't know what its beef is, mate. I don't know what the deal is with this. Is it free? Boris, did you see my comment under one of the videos? Probably not recently, mate. I don't know if you've just joined, but I've been entirely consumed the last week working on my benchmark tools. So I've not been scouring comments recently. Feel free to repeat. Vision VR creation software. So there's this create VR experience. Oh, hello. Oh no, right, okay. Now this is interesting. If it's more than just a still renderer, then could be on board with that. Oh, here we go. Bye. Permanent key. 374. Compose mechanical. What be mechanical about it? VR viewer. Oh, hello. Like, I'm not being funny or anything, but like, you'd think that, like, why haven't I heard of this? Like, I've got the biggest inventor YouTube channel in the world. Why haven't I heard of this? Does this just plug? Surely this just doesn't port straight from Inventor straight into VR. If it does, the wife's gonna have to wait. I'm not going out for dinner. I'm gonna play with this. How long has this been a thing for? I know, Alex. What I mean is, like, I get contacted by like tons of tiny companies that want their products shown on the channel. Like, I don't know. Half the time it's crap. It could be, but likes of this stuff. Companies selling VR flipping wire hangers that you bolt into the ceiling, and then you route your VR cable through them, and it gets it off the ground. You know, you get sent all kinds of crap like that. And then, you know, Inventor for Woodwork, those got in touch with me, and SimScale and stuff, and tons of other people who have little apps for Inventor that want exposure on the channel. It's the biggest Inventor channel. You'd think that, I know they do a lot of other stuff, but I just figured that it's a market that there's nothing else in it that does this. I like the look of this because there's competition coming up as well for this, because Unity have a new VR engine called Reflect, and they're beginning to import CAD data from various Autodesk applications straight into Reflect via one click. You know what they say? Competition breeds innovation. Is that what they say? I do like the look at this though. VR creation, VR interactive rendering, 3D PDF. So who are these guys? Where are they? Jordan. Okay. I will bookmark this and I will pick this up later on because this looks very interesting. Why is my Autodesk toolbar not appearing in there? Huge problem. I like the look at that, mate. Thanks. That looks very interesting. Why not install it now and give it a go? Because it'll go wrong, mate. Go wrong. I haven't got any VRs not plugged in, and I'm absolutely boiling hot in this room. I'm not going anywhere near VR with the heat that I'm currently radiating right now. It's sweating. My skin is leaking dramatically. Yeah, it will go wrong, mate. It wouldn't work straight away. I haven't really got anything set up to put into it. I'd need to play around with it to see. I like to look at the ins and outs of it first. And I don't even know whether their trial is a fully functioning trial. Is there even a trial? I don't know. I don't even know if there's a trial. Can you even trial it? I don't know. These are the things I would have to dig around at afterwards. Aye. So, what else has been going on? Anything with you lot? This is the support desk. Ask questions, mate. Ask questions. Feel free to give us your feedback on whether you want this on another day. If there's a preferable other day of the week that you want this on, because I think, like I said, Fridays is not good. I'm gonna let my elbow shirt. Just I'm gonna open the window. That's better. Aye. You think Friday's perfect? Okay. Noted. And Friday's good for you. No limitation in the trial. There's got to be a limitation in the trial. What else? Who's gonna pay for it? If there's no limitation in the trial, who's gonna pay for this? Oh, come on. Oh, I'm gonna bookmark it now. Ah, 21 days free trial. I'll keep using the light version for free. But what's SimLab? Is SimLab Composer like everything? These are the things I need to figure out. Gallery VR, what have they done in VR? Good production value. Good, but ooh. So they've got like a little plaque. Is that like an interactive plaque? Is that like a product configurator plaque? Come on, get on with it. Do something. Ooh. What's on the plaque? I need to see what's on the... Oh, good, thank you. Play reverse stop. Colours off on, open, close, reset, reset all. Oh, hello. I like it a lot. Okay. That does look interesting. Oh, mechanical simulation. What's this one? Obviously, you can see all kinds of uses for that, but it does beg the question, how much effort did it take to put into that? So, Singer, you say you've used this. How much have you done with this? Are you been able to knock up stuff close to this? curious to see more on this. It's very Enscapey. Remember Enscape, the architectural visualization program? Reminds me of that. Just the motion blur, the way it pans around, and the assets and the visuals. It very much looks like Enscape. But Enscape was a direct export from Revit. That looked a bit... didn't look very smooth, did it? Pretty sure it's meant to go a bit more fluid than that. That's not great, is it? It's like when he's looking at the object that he's making move, the whole thing just sort of goes... I don't know. I'll check that out. That looks good though. Also, 21 days trial, and then the light version after. But I'll have to dig in to see where the light version is and what you get with the light version. Is there an exporter from Inventor for the light version? I don't know. Have a look at it. It does say you can use the light version commercially. The limitation of the chat here is 200 characters, and my comment was 1700 characters in the comment. Okay, I definitely missed that then. Aye. Are you trying to post a book? I don't know. I think Boris it was you that put the comment on a couple of weeks ago about alternative options for the live stream, wasn't it? I think it was you that said possibly use the live stream for having like almost ad hoc tips and tricks videos. Was it that comment you were talking about? If it is that comment you're talking about, I did see that one. I think I mentioned it last week. Because yeah, you did say it was a good observation that the live streams look rushed. I think it was the first thing I said last week as I was rushing onto the live stream. They're not. I mean, they are kind of rushed, but they're always going to be because. Just like you guys, I've got a day job as well, and I'm doing this after the day job. So there's never. It's not like I've got all day to prepare for it or anything. So imagine if you were finishing your job and then you had something like this to do an hour afterwards. It will be, or it'll appear rushed. It's always going to be that way for as long as I've got a day job like you guys. But with regards to like having, like doing topics such as the ones that you mentioned, like having, I'm trying to think off the top of my head what you'd mentioned, things like covering work instructions and Nastran workflows and stuff like that. I don't think I could do that in the live stream, to be honest, like mate. There's a limit as to what I can do and what I can put together. Like this week, for example, I don't know if you were here when I was opening up for this live stream, but like this week has been a complete write-off. Like the entire week, every waking minute of this week through till sort of 2-3 in the morning I've been working on my benchmark tool, and I just wouldn't have time at all to prep for putting together material for a live tips and tricks video. It just wouldn't happen, mate. It just wouldn't work. I could say I would try, but I just know it wouldn't work. I could possibly do those kind of things for the members only videos, but then things like work instructions, that's not really my remit. Like, I don't think that's where my skills are. The other things that you were mentioning, like Nastran, I've never used Nastran, mate. Like, I can't guide people on Nastran. I've already as good as covered everything that I've got a skill set in and I'm experienced in. But I'll try and I mean, that's the whole point of this, is to kind of bring in ideas and then expand on them. So I'm open to it, and I'll see what I can do with it for possible future videos. But for the lives, like, for example, like the way I first thought about it was, if, for example, I did a live stream which was just on invented and Nastran workflows, how many people would that be relevant to? I can't imagine many. But whereas this is just all the members kind of coming together and it's just chatting, it's just chilling. It's end of the week. If nobody's got a question, it doesn't matter. We're just all here talking, we're all here chatting. I call it the support desk because if you've got a question, you can ask it if you want. But really, it's just all coming together and chilling, really. Right, Singit, thanks, mate. Cheers. I'll see you later. Daniel, have you configured a cloud-based vault? Oh. Have I configured a cloud-based vault? I'm kind of devastated by that question because I'm going through that in my day job at the moment. I haven't done it yet, but it's one of the things that it's on the table is being a possibility. So without kind of giving, I'll not go into the whole story of what's going on at work, but we've got an office in China, and China's like, it might as well be a different planet. That nothing that applies to us applies to them. Like, there's all kinds of laws preventing you from working with them. You can't export data to them. If you work with a Chinese company, they've got all kinds of laws that stop and prevent them from sending data to you. It's a nightmare. So as one of the options to try and work with the China office, I had thought about putting a vault in a cloud server and then maybe replicating it out from a cloud server to the UK and to China. So I haven't installed it in a cloud server yet, but doing the physical install shouldn't be too different. In fact, it won't be any different to doing a normal vault install, but it's the IT side of things which would need to be a bit different. The cloud instance would need to be hooked up with your domain. You need all kind of gateways into your domain. But as far as I know, it is supported. You can do it. It should work without a problem. The downsides of it are speed and latency, because if you've got a vault in the cloud, where is that physical server? If you're in the UK and the closest Amazon Web Services server is Dublin, well, then you're pulling all your data from Dublin. In the grand scheme of the internet, it's not that far away, but it's still pulling data from Dublin. It might be, I don't know, 50 milliseconds ping time or something. I don't know what it is, but if you're pulling 2,000 files over a 50 milliseconds ping, and your internet connection might not be the quickest, that's just exponentially slower than if your data was local. And whilst it might be, but okay, we'll get the benefits of having a vault in the cloud and the backup and the redundancy and all that. Sure, it sounds like a great idea. We'll go with that. That sounds like a great idea now, but then when it comes to actually pulling that data set down in anger, it probably doesn't. It won't be such a good idea then. So, yeah, I haven't done it, but it is possible. One thing I have thought about doing, and I'm definitely going to investigate, and test is the possibility of having an entire environment in the cloud, not just the Vault, but also the workstations and all of the software applications, everything. So I don't know what they call them. It's not a tenant. It's Microsoft or Amazon. They've got their own. It's like an instance where it's like a virtual group of servers and workstations. No, it's not Cyrix. So you rent like a group. It's almost like a big room in the cloud where you've got a server and you've got virtual workstations all in the cloud, but they're all connected to each other and they're all in the same physical hardware in the cloud. So if you're sat in your office on a thin client, you connect to that virtual workstation, VDI, connect to it through whichever cheap laptop or cheap thin client you've got. You log into that VDI and then log into Vault, and they're all within the same local instance in the cloud, so there isn't any sort of slow down data transfer. Yeah, kind of like the inventor beta testing arrangement. Yeah, kind of like that. The inventor beta testing is Frame, but I don't think that has a server connection. But Frame, so the Autodesk beta connection has. They've got like a Frame connection in like Europe and Asia and America and various different ones around the world, so you connect to the one that's closest to you. What I'm kind of thinking of is wherever's closest to you, you'd have a bank of servers and a bank of workstations all in that same area. I don't know, it's just something I'm thinking of, because I think we're kind of fast moving away from physical workstations, as useful as they are. I think, I'd say probably 10, 15 years down the line, I think physical workstations are going to, I don't know, the way virtual's going, I think physical's going to have to do a lot to keep up. So, I've got a small company, 5 users in New York, clouded Vault Basic and Azure. You clouded Vault Basic? It's an interesting move. And that works okay. I suppose if you're in the US, you've probably got enough servers for it to be pretty snappy. Interesting, cloud Vault Basic. Most people who run Vault Basic, it's just on a really cheap server in the corner of the office. But how would you share custom content centers over several vaults? Over several vaults. When you say vaults, do you mean different vaults on the same server, or different ADMSs, different work groups? Is it one server with multiple vaults? Is it, you share custom content? I mean, I don't know, custom. Several replicated vaults with one publisher. What I've always done is, I mean, when you've got a replicated vault, you can only have the vault libraries hosted. Well, I'd say you can only have. I've only ever done it this way. You have the content center libraries hosted on the publisher. I think that's the only way you can do it, actually. And then you replicate the custom content center libraries out to all the subscribers. And that's, I don't think there's any other way you can do that. I'm asking how else you would do it. I think that is the only way you can do it. No, they don't have their own content center. I think you can probably create a different library for each work group. So if you've got 3 sites, for example, you could probably create 3 different libraries on the publisher and then replicate them out. Just so replicate that one library out to the publisher, to the subscriber that wants it. But I'm pretty sure you can't create. I'm saying I don't know, but I'm sort of certain you can't create a custom content center library at a subscriber site, because it's a slave instance. So I think you'd have to create the custom content center library on the publisher, and then you can replicate it out just to the subscriber that wants that library. So you could have 3 custom content centers, 3 subscribers, and then just replicate each library out to the relevant subscriber. I think that's what I'd do. And then that subscriber could take ownership of editing that library. I don't see any other way of doing it. Because the reason I'm saying I think that's the only way is because if you did create the library at the subscriber site, it wouldn't get backed up, because you don't back up subscriber sites. So the library would have to be created at the publisher for it to be included in the backup set. Somehow you need to synchronize. Well, it would synchronize, because it's when you create the library at the publisher and then replicate it to the subscriber. That's synchronization beginning. It's synchronizing the database just like a vault. It's an MDB, just like a vault is an MDB, so it will synchronize. Yes? No? I've only done it once. I've only ever really had to worry about a content center once in a replicated vault. And fortunately, the company didn't really use the custom content center, so I didn't have to worry too much about it. Every vault has a unique project file. Every vault has a unique project in vault. The project files manages the season. Have you got more than one vault? Okay. Over 50? What? Where do you work? NASA? What? That's a... How big's the company you work for? I mean, you don't have to say who it is, but how? I mean, what kind of? How many people are working on that? That is kind of big. That like. Oh, fair enough. That's quite a lot of people. 50 volts, Christ. Right, so every vault obviously has a unique project. And the project files manage the content center. I don't know. So what's the issue you're coming across with by if you were to just create the custom content center library for vault number 36, you create a custom content center library and you replicate it out to vault number 36. What's the issue with just adding that to their project file? So the ideal is create one content center and get that into every vault. Yeah, I think, yeah, why not? Create one content center. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you would create. You create your custom content center library, which is just a custom MDB file. You then replicate it out. You don't replicate the content center library to vaults. You replicate it to ADMSs. You replicate it to the SQL instances in the workgroup. It's not actually replicated to vaults. So you replicate it out to the SQL instances. that then attaches it to all the other sites. Once it's physically at those other sites, you could open up Inventor and then log in to the content center and Vault through Inventor, log into the local ADMS server. That then queries the local ADMS server as to what content center libraries it has. That local ADMS will say, oh, we've got this content center library, and then you can go to the project file, the little button at the bottom right, and then you should just be able to add that custom content center library to that project file. And then that's it. They're not, the custom content center libraries aren't linked to individual vaults. It's not really in any way. There's no link to the MDB file to the vault itself. There's no dependency there. The output of the content center library, the file, the IPTs that it spits out, end up in a vault, but there's no like dependency back to that library. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work, whether you've got 1 or 2 subscribers or 50. It makes it a lot more complicated and a lot more difficult to follow, but it should be. I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work. Cheers, Darren, mate. See you later. So yeah, that was a lot to think about on a Friday. yeah, you just once it's replicated out to the subscriber, and then you log into Inventor through that, or log into Inventor to that subscriber, it queries the local libraries that are there, and then you should just be able to add it to the project file, and then that should do it. Right, okie dokie, right, mate. We've been here an hour. I've got that call in an hour, so I need to get prepped up for that. Anything else you guys want to talk about before I wrap this up? I guess we have the tools to replicate to users. Yeah. I mean, a content center is a nightmare. I don't think it's ever going to change. It works. It's just a mess to administrate. Is it even a mess? It's just really difficult to understand it. The tables, the family tables, replicating libraries. It's horrible. But I think they're way too far into it now to change it. So, come on, Boris, finish your sentence. I'm on the edge of my seat here. The IPT is also one big. What? Tell me, mate. It's killing me. Or did YouTube block the word big bad? Yeah, I know. It's just a bugger, dude. Custom tune and pipe fittings. Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's. I think if you were to just use the content center with what they give you, which is the ANSI libraries, the DIN libraries, the ISO libraries, sure. You know, you can make that look great in a sales demo. Oh, look at this, you've got loads of bolts and nuts and washers, and oh, you get all these library fasteners and stuff, and it looks great, and oh, you can make an assembly full of this, that, and the other. And then as soon as you start thinking, well, how do I put my own stuff in there? Yeah, about that. You've got to author parameters and materials, and it's awful. It's awful. And then when you get into the tubing and pipe and stuff, you can't just drop a part into the content center. It's all got to be done through family tables, and it's horrible. It's horrible. Air conditioning copper tube. Why isn't it not in the default content center? There's all kinds of stuff that's not on there, mate. it's almost like someone decided, right, we're not going to commit to putting in any kind of brands or anything that's sort of like industry standard, but it's branded. And then they ended up with Parker stuff in there. Okay. I don't know. I don't even know if they've even got anyone in Autodesk at the moment that's responsible for it. Like, is anyone even taking the lead? SKF, have they got SKF bearings in there? I mean, these must have been deals done on, like, I don't know, like corporate dinners at some point in the past. You know, the golden handshakes and super magic exceptions to the rules. Yeah, it does, yeah. Tube and pipe and frame generator is exceptionally dependent on the content center. It just doesn't work without it. One of the best things to put in was the local desktop content, which, I mean, that's been a long time since that came in. I don't know if anyone can remember what Inventor and Vault was like before desktop content was in. It was awful. Oh my god, if you wanted a content center, you had to install Vault Server just to use the content center. So just people with a laptop, just the average Joe with a laptop had to install SQL and ADMS, and then had to log into a Vault server just to use the content center before desktop content came in. I still think of that as being kind of recent, even though it was 2010-ish, 2009, 2010 that came in. So it's been in there for 10 years, but that was awful. That was awful. I was working in the reseller channel and I had a good 6 years of dealing with that before that changed. If you've still been in school when that came up, yeah, just be thankful you didn't have to deal with that. Yeah, you had to install SQL just to get the content center. You can kind of understand why it was the case. It's just they had Vault, and then whoever created the content center thought, well, we'll make them libraries. Oh, we've got this thing Vault, which it hosts SQL libraries. Well, we can just attach the content center libraries to that, and then it was just obviously an afterthought. Well, that means you've got to install SQL and ADMS server to get the content center. Yeah, about that. I don't know. Right, okay. I'm gonna knock this off and then get on my call this afternoon. So thanks very much for everyone for turning up. Much appreciated, and I'll see you next one. If I can, even turn this off. So yeah, if you're in Discord, I'm going to probably be more active in Discord over the next week as I get more heavy on the development of this benchmark tool, because I'll need some feedback from you guys. Might even need some beta testers. So yeah, I'll be around Discord for that. Cheers guys, have a good weekend. I'll see you in the next one.